Welcome back to another episode of Can Blue, a hockey podcast covering the Rangers and the U.S. and the Montreal Canadiens
and Canada.
and Canada.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Ben, on the Rangers and U.S. side.
I'm Brendan, covering the Canadian side.
We are recording this the day after the first time the U.S. and Canada met. I'm assuming they're going to hopefully meet again in the championship game, but this was the Sunday after Saturday night's game where the U.S. beat Canada
3-1.
3-1 in crazy fight night fashion to open up the game. Really fun. We're gonna talk about that at the end. More fun for me, maybe. But
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I'm a Canadiens fan, Habs fan. I like the U.S. team. In some aspects, I don't like the Canadian team, just because it. I was talking about this earlier with you. It doesn't feel like, the
it's
dominant
different than
team.
it's different than the Sochi Olympic team you were saying.
Yeah, the Sochi Olympic team, or the previous tournaments that the old guard were a part of. It felt like, this team is gonna just steamroll over everyone, including the U.S. And to me, this team doesn't feel like that, even though they have obviously big guys like McDavid and McKinnon. The bottom six, I feel, is just like, pretty neutral about it, or I don't like them, like Marner. Even back then when like Marchand was part of like the Olympic team, I actually liked him. But for some reason, I don't know, having a guy like Marner just pisses me off. Or I can't like it as much as maybe the U.S. team. I mean, even though they have Matthews, so it's a bit confusing to me because the Habs are now starting to have U.S. players.
Yeah.
And I like them. Got Hudson, we got Caulfield. So we got it like more of a mixed group than just having pure Canadian players. So, I mean, I'm a bit confused as to who I'm rooting for, honestly.
Well, listen, you're a U.S. resident. You're a Canadian national. So I could see you more than anyone has the ability to kind of root for both and pick, I think, if you wanted to. But
yeah, I'm a little bit rough on them too. I don't like Binnington as their starting goalie.
I don't think anyone does at this point.
I think Cooper should change it up. Maybe it's Aiden Hill. Maybe it's
You
Monty.
want Monty.
I want Monty.
Yeah.
I want it would be good to get him in, and I want to see some Canadian presence, like Canadians' presence on the ice. Laine had a couple good assists from that Finland game against Sweden.
I thought we were going to do this at the end, but let's just do it now. Let's do it off the top since it's on the top of our heads. Yeah. So first game for the Canadiens against the Swedes. What did you think?
I mean, it started off really well. Like they got like a power play from like the start, and
Crosby to McKinnon.
Crosby and McKinnon. You're like, okay, this team is
Buzzing.
gonna be insane.
Yeah.
You got McCarr in the back end too. But the Swedes kept it in. I remember Adrian Kemp when it was like 2-1 Canada tying goal. And just like so soft on Binnington, like he could have saved it. It was from far up.
I don't love the Binnington. Like he has not been what he was. Like he had 1 year where he was lights out.
He
and
has
that
a cup.
got him. Yeah,
That's it.
that was the year though. Like that half year when he got called up, he was like nonstop. And ever since then, it's just been nothing but like him being kind of a baby or like throwing a fit or like trying to fight someone or taking a swing at someone. And like I just don't.
Right.
Like I get that's fiery and maybe that can work for you, but it hasn't been 2 great showings for him in 4 Nations.
Yeah, and Sweden is not like the strongest team. Well, from the sample size.
I think they're relative. Maybe this is going to
from the round robin. They've been the worst.
It seems like they're relatively soft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's going to be interesting.
They got destroyed by the U.S.
No, they didn't play.
Oh no, sorry,
That was
Finland. Finland got destroyed by the U.S.
But Finland is a whole nother story. But I think like you look at. I don't know. Dahlin had a massive hit on McDavid, and I thought that was good. And I'm not going to call like Hedman a soft player, and there's definitely players there. But like you look at Zibanejad and Nylander on the top line, you're just like, that's not a line that, I don't know.
They just haven't. They got talent.
Yeah, they're talented, but they're kind of soft, I think.
Yeah, it's It's not like
And I know a thing about Soft because the Benajad, I watch him every night when he was on the Rangers.
he has a goal, right?
Yeah, but like,
yeah, I mean,
they don't even have a win yet.
yeah, they don't have
That's
a
the
win.
thing.
I think they're definitely the weakest game, despite Finland being blown out by the U.S. They did get a win over Sweden, which we saw Patrick Laine get a couple assists. And pretty solid ones too, like ones where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
can you do that for the Habs? Like,
yeah.
he only has like 6 assists for us right now, and he dished it out like a whiz, like for those 2 goals. So
Finland really surprised me in that game when they played Sweden, because when they played the U.S., obviously it was Yoki Harju had the goal, and then the U.S. was just nonstop.
5 straight, yeah.
Yeah, so it really seemed, and you look at their defensive core, the Finns, they, Euro Vakanainen, who we've talked about on the Rangers, he's like the 6th guy. He's their 3rd or 4th defenseman because, Heiskanen is out, right?
Yeah, Heiskanen.
Yeah. So, like, not a super deep team, but the fact that they kind of, and I was talking about this with some of my...
Lankinen is their starting, I think.
What?
Goalie.
No, they had Saros.
Saros?
Saros
No,
was...
no. Saros is...
No, he played. Saros played against
okay.
the U.S., but he got lit up, so I think they put Lehkonen in after.
Right. That's true.
And they play like the system that the Finns are playing. It just, and this is the way with a lot of European
What's the system?
teams.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
didn't
just
pick
like
up on it.
I don't have the good enough background to know the system by heart, but I know what happens in the international play, and when you're good, basically you're put on these teams that. There's a Swedish system that like everyone kind of plays. It's a lot of cycling, a lot of like moving around. Everyone knows the spot that the right winger should be and the left winger should be in the center and everything in all 3 zones. And the Finns have a different system, but same concept where everyone has a position, and if you're playing as a unit, pretty much anyone can sub in or out as long as you know the system and play it well enough. Like it's good. So I think like that's what you see in the international like IIHF World Junior games, like the Swedes, the Finns, the Czechians, everything. They have a system that goes and when it comes to like Canada and the U.S., I think they've gotten away from that a little bit. Having like one system where it could be a revolving door. It's more just like we're going to rely on our like top end players to just make crazy plays, and maybe they take risks.
Canada is, screwing the pooch a bit because like
maybe
they're relying too much on their star talent to really buckle down and just give a showing.
But it's like weird because like
I
think the U.S. are doing that too, and it's just working for them for some reason these days. But the point of bringing the systems part into it is, it seems like that's how the Finns are going to win games in this tournament. Like, and that's how they took it to the Swedes. Like, they don't have the best skilled roster. They don't have the really like who is a scorer on their team. Like Laine is their best scorer. That's kind of compared to. You look at the other rosters, it's kind of like...
Hintz, you got Rupe,
yeah,
Hintz. He's pretty good.
He's your best scorer, though? And you look
One
at,
of the best. Like,
you look at, like, McDavid, McKinnon, Makar, Crosby. You look at Eichel, Kachuk. Like they're, it's a tough matchup, but the way that they're going to stay in these games is by playing and sticking to the system that's, like grinder, hard-nosed, and then also, you saw that goal that Barkov had that I thought Kakko scored. Off the half wall, kind of like pass.
Barkov, see this?
Well, yeah, Barkov, yeah, but he's not known as a scorer. He's known as like the all-world
But you need him to
center.
enable others to score.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like the goals that they get, it's not going to be. It doesn't look flashy, but it's going to be like coming from whatever that system that they're running is. So I think there's a chance that they make a good game in case against Canada. Canada should absolutely beat them on Monday or Tuesday or whenever. Especially looking at how
Canadian
the U.S. took it to them. Yeah.
For the past decades, Canadian standards beat everyone, and they haven't. And whether it's in this tournament or in the World Juniors, when going into the last night's game, I honestly felt like I think the U.S. is going to win this. And
it didn't help that Makar was out before the game. I know it's not your whole player, it's not your whole team, but like that is one of the first guys selected.
Yeah, but
and you have Hughes out for the U.S. too.
So much up front, and if you got like our I guess 7th defenseman slotting in for that 6th spot,
Thomas Harley.
Yeah, the fact that you have him, I mean, he's still young, but he's like a pretty solid, like very
There
good.
were other choices though. It's
Well,
interesting
definitely.
that they.
I don't know what kind of choices they're making
Yeah.
for Team Canada, to be honest.
But I think like going into this tournament, the question for Canada for me was goalies number one, and then you've absolutely no question about their forwards really. Like even if you question their bottom couple lines, like you could still have a lightning line where it's Sorelli, Point, and who else? Hagel.
Yeah.
And that's still like a all-tier line, right? But then you go to the D, you look at Morrissey, who's awesome offensively, maybe not the best defensively. You have Makar, who's going to be your best all-around guy. And then you kind of start going down the list of the defense. You're like, all right, Doughty had to slot in. Great player, not going to...
Hannafin, is he U.S.? Or?
He's U.S.
Yeah.
But like Doughty's 38, so like you can't expect him to be the absolute shutdown guy.
He was itching to play. He's like, I want to play.
No, sick. I love
awesome.
that. Good for him. But like he's not the guy that's going to shut down the U.S. offense, right? And then you have some, I don't know, who's like Sanheim
to be honest,
or like
I think let other defensemen play. Like Doughty, you've
I don't
been
know.
in the Olympics.
I think like number one, the goalie is the issue for Canada. Number two, it's like you're after Makar and Morrissey. Do you have any defense that can shut down plays? It doesn't really seem great right now. And then obviously you have great forwards. So it's can you out play, out offense, out muscle the U.S. And last night, no, they couldn't do it.
McDavid had that sweet goal, and I was like, okay. Can you just do more of that? Or
like that was awesome. That crazy way to open up the game.
Maybe Hellebuck just shut it down for them, and the defense for the U.S. is just like
but
absolutely kept them out.
We obviously have to talk about the 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. Some people think it was like a reaction to the boos of the anthem. I think the players
they were just hyped.
Even if they're like upset about the boos of the Americans, like I don't think they went out. Weren't gonna fight, heard the boos, and are like, oh, we actually have to fight now. I heard that Miller and the Kachucks had a group chat going around before this game saying, yo, I think we all have to fight like early in the game, and that's why you saw them all do it. It was really cool. I think
they were just hype, to just get it going, and
and think about what that will do for fans of the sport and like future fans of the sports. Like I had so many people who don't regularly watch hockey and just like nothing really else is on except the dunk contest, which like who's gonna watch the dunk contest? Come on. And then this is on. They're like, wow, this is insane. Like I had non-hockey fans texting me saying this is unreal. Like how long have they been doing this? And I'm like, first year, guys. Like
more international type play, less winter classic stuff.
Being to one in New York, it was really, really fun. But I know what you mean.
I feel like it's lost its mojo.
The Winter Classic, I think we talked about it this year, being with like the Blues and the Blackhawks, 2 teams that have really sucked this year. Yeah. Blues are kind of middle, but that wasn't it. Like they should really try to market it. It sucks because you want to like balance it for all the
just more international play though. Like
that's true.
We just like this was a great idea. I think
it's awesome. I didn't think I'd like it this much. I thought it would be like, wow, they're not going to try. They're going after it.
Yeah, they're trying. They're trying, and you could feel it. And there's a little bit of drama, of course, but that makes it all much better. And the exposure to everyone else outside the hockey world is more important because, I mean, we want viewership up. So.
Yep, that's true. I think the NHL's had some tough viewership numbers lately this year, maybe, but.
We're not the only ones, though, thankfully. Like, the NBA, true. I heard, is, like,
can you imagine?
Getting a lot less. And maybe the Luka thing was a whole conspiracy.
Oh, my gosh, maybe.
To bring up viewership.
But I do think this is timed very well, right? Like, there's nothing really else going on in sports. It's a year before the NHL is going back to the Olympics. So a lot of these guys are probably playing under the watchful eye of the Olympic Selection Committee. So, like, they're hoping to make the team next year, or they're older and they're like, maybe I won't get to play for my nation ever again. So like,
maybe
this is it.
Maybe the Doughty.
That's what
in that position.
Yeah,
a player like him.
So I mean, I think that's huge news.
And I think Suzuki will make the Olympic team.
I think there's definitely I don't know if Brock Nelson or Kreider should be on this team, especially over like Tage Thompson.
Yeah, or Caulfield. I know you're gonna laugh at that. But Caulfield's a point per game.
I know. we'll see. I just think like it was a smart move having it right before the Olympics because the players
better
care.
Than Brock
All right,
Nelson. I'm just
yes,
saying.
he's better than Brock Nelson, but like.
Okay, finish your sentence. I'm just, yeah.
So good timing. The Olympics coming in and like something about the Olympics, it's gonna feel more important than this tournament. But this tournament is a nice warm up, and it shows that like players and fans care. Yeah, that's true. And the other thing that everyone has been saying, and we were talking about, is like, understandably, Russia is not included in this because of the political, just like volatility. But like that team probably would beat everyone.
They would be very, very
Their second
good.
team could beat everyone, maybe. Like, they have so many players.
Yeah, they're good.
It's crazy.
They're good. And it would be interesting to see a couple KHL guys go. They probably have a couple KHL guys that could join the NHL squad, right?
They wouldn't do that, though.
No?
Because this is led by the NHL, so like they're not going to bring in another league. But in the
the
Olympics?
But isn't that how it works? Like, in like, internationally, like, in the Olympics, they would bring
the
best of the best from any league.
Yes.
Right?
So next year, if Russia's in for somehow, I don't know if that's going to work out for the Olympics, but yeah, if like they have the star of the KHL, that he could be on that team if he's
like
not.
Technically, who's that Washington Capital? Kuznetsov could technically play again.
Totally. Sorry, I thought you were talking about for a Four Nations.
Okay,
That's not
for Four Nations probably.
It's NHL sponsored.
It would be so sick. I mean, you got new players like Kirill,
like Demidov could play.
Demidov could play. Marchenko. These new Russian players that haven't been in like, an international spotlight before would be so cool. Like, so it's unfortunate that I don't know. It's I don't want to get into it obviously, but. Back then, weren't they playing during the Cold War too? Like
it's more. I feel like it's no, because back in like World War II, they didn't let some countries in, right? Like,
but the 70s and 80s, like they let Russia play.
I guess it was.
They were even called the USSR.
Yeah, but
it
was
then.
The Cold War. The whole thing is like it was less of like an invasion. It was more of just like occupation
tension.
and like.
And this is actual like war going on.
So we'll see what happens with that. I think the only other couple things I wanted to mention are the Olympics. Great, 2028. So the NHL is going to try to do kind of an every 2-year international play. So like Olympics being one, that'll start 2026. 2028, they announced they're going to try to do it like an 8 nations, so expand on the 4 nations format. Which, by the way, replacing the All-Star game is like the best thing ever. Like the All-Star game was horrible. Like, I remember last year, 2 years ago, they had like a passing competition. It's like, come on, no one wants to see that.
That's boring.
And like that's what the NBA is doing too. It's like no one wants to see that. Just like if you're gonna do a mid-season tournament in the NBA, just have that instead of the dunk contest and the All-Star whatever. Like, it's so dumb.
So that's the thing. Even in the NBA, you're losing that magical feeling of like seeing the All-Stars.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the age of social media or whatever, but I don't know. Like, there was like actual hypeness when you saw like Shaq or like you see Ovi do a breakaway challenge or something.
Yeah.
It's
just lost it. I don't know.
It's just lost it. Yeah.
So they're gonna do it every 2 years. They're gonna have the Olympics next year, 2028. They'll have 8 nations. I think they're probably hoping that there's some form of de-escalation because I don't know how you're gonna have 8 nations and not Russia.
Get Latvia in.
That would be sick. I don't know. But this is the other thing. Like, how are you gonna get these smaller countries that there's no way there's 20 Latvian players?
We got Reinbacher, David Reinbacher.
Right. So like, I think the nations would be U.S., Canada, Sweden, Finland, probably Switzerland. I think they could farm a team. You'd hope Russia,
Czechia.
Definitely Czechia, and then if you're going one more for 8,
Slovakia.
Is there 20 Slovakian players though?
There's enough. Uri.
There's
Uri
definitely
in the top line.
There's definitely not 20 Latvian players, but it would be sick to get Latvia in there.
Get Latvia.
So maybe that's when they can like go into the IHF and be like, all right, we'll pull some of your best. We'll see how that shakes out. I'm just excited. Like the fact that it's replacing the All-Star game, the fact that it's actually fun to watch and like getting viewership and it is
genuinely fun. Yeah,
it's like kind of it is a legit best on best, or it will be at least when everyone else is in. It's cool. I do think I understand they're trying it out. Czechia being in this would be fun because there are a ton of Czechian players. Like you'd have Dobiš in net, you'd have Pasternak, you'd have some of the other just like studs that are out there. Czechia's
Czechia would be great.
hockey, and they won the Worlds IHF last year.
They would be good.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do 5 nations.
It's hard. I think it's just harder format.
Yeah.
I do think also the last thing I'll say, they're using this as a testing ground for new rules. You notice the point system is different.
Yeah.
So I think AHL, they're doing it as well, but a regulation win will be 3 points. OT win is 2 points. OT loss is 1 point. So what that does is it incentivizes the teams to win in regulation.
To actually win in regulation.
Instead of hold on to the puck for the last 2 minutes because they're like, oh, we'll just take the point because we need it. And then also, I don't know, having
that means the people that win, the teams that win will just have an enormous gap, I think. Like, between them and the next best
but
two
that's how
or
it
three.
should be. Like, if you are able to win games in regulation more than a team that, like, remember the year that it was either the Bruins or, like, the Islanders or something, like, had, like, 15 OT losses or something? You're just like...
Right.
But they were in it because it was not as... It wasn't weighted properly. It just didn't make sense to me. But... And they're doing 10-minute 3-on-3.
What
That's
was
the other
the team
thing.
that had, like, basically, like, the most win? Like, was it the Bruins or Florida? Oh, no, it was Florida last year, right? They had, like, so many...
I don't know.
I forget.
But the 10-minute 3-on-3 also.
Oh, yeah, 10-minute 3-on-3, yeah. So that is awesome.
I saw there was, like, an outtake from McKinnon being like, I don't think we could do that. Like, it's too much. I'm already sucking wind. It's like, McKinnon, you didn't come off the ice for the whole OT. You can come off the ice. You have a whole team.
It seems like you loved it out there.
Well, it's that, and it's also like you don't need to play all 10 minutes.
Right. You can
it's everyone else.
Other
and like
players.
it hasn't gone to a shootout once, and it's gone to overtime twice, right? So that's a good sample. I like it. Even if they make it to like 7 minutes next year, just to like get it up
7 minutes
from
is
5. Good. Yeah, it'd be cool. But yeah, excited for the next I guess
games.
there's 3 more games really, because I don't know if they'll do a
one more round robin
Yeah.
game, which is
and then the championship.
What's the round robin?
Round robins will be U.S. versus Sweden and Canada versus Finland.
Okay, Canada and Finland. Yeah,
You should pump them.
This is the definitive one where if they don't basically pump them, I don't see them making a win for gold, because they should, and like they need to. I don't know. I don't like the choosing process in terms of how players are picked. I get how people may opt out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The U.S. team just feels a lot stronger than Canada.
They're cooking.
They're cooking. They're cooking.
The Kachuk-Eichel line is just
crazy.
lights out. It's so fun.
Just
thought I liked the Kachucks, but after last night's performance, I'm like all in. I think they're like the best.
They're definitely
I want one.
terrible to play against.
Yeah.
Like you hate them.
Yeah.
You hate them.
And like
but
I used to just like kind of think
them.
Brady was just a little like pissant, but like now he's I love him.
Yeah, no, he's
I love him.
We missed an opportunity to pick Kachuk.
Who'd you get instead? Kakaniemi?
Yep.
And where is he now?
And there was that meme of that woman that's just like, like, who is that person? And I was like, who is that person?
Yeah. Oh, man. You can't pass up a Kachuk.
I thought it was Kachuk. I genuinely thought it was either Zadina, well, thankfully not, but or Kachuk. And, yeah, to have a player like that would be insanely
It's
awesome
like what
and
every
valuable to
team
have.
wants.
Every team wants it. Every team wants him. So, I mean, Brady to Rangers?
I'm down. We'll give
I
you
don't
back
think it's happening.
Zibanejad.
He's a
We'll give you
captain.
Zibanejad back.
Dude,
we traded our captain.
The only
Wayne Gretzky was traded.
The saving grace is that no one wants to be in Ottawa. So
Yes, that's true.
no one likes.
If they miss the playoffs again, I think he could be moved, maybe, possibly.
I would feel like Stützle would be moved first, then Brady. And if anything, this competition is going to show how valuable a Kachuk is,
so
right?
good,
So they want to keep
Get him out of Ottawa. It's like such a disservice.
I know.
He hasn't played any playoff games. Has he had one?
I don't think so.
Oh my god.
It is true. Like I feel for those players that really.
He's
have
been
had
to
a
all
playoff
of his
experience.
brother's playoff games and been crushing beers.
That's true. That's
you always
true.
see him like in Florida, just like pounding.
Well, Chuck, if Montreal is wide open. We got a couple winger positions open.
You don't have. You couldn't handle it.
Ah.
All right, let's get into the last week of games in the
From what we had
for actual
week 18.
Yeah. I think
Definitely lackluster from us. We were 1-3.
like, which sucks, and I think we went in saying we hope to get all wins or like all wins but one.
So what I said for us was that we had to win all of them or three, at least 3 of them, 3 out of 4.
So are you like?
My prediction was we'll win 2 out of 2.
Okay.
And what actually happened is we won 1 out of 3.
So are you out on the playoffs this season? Do you think?
I think so.
Officially. So what do you want them to do?
I want them. I don't want to tank, but like still play. Do your best to
Sellers,
try
though?
to make it. We're probably going to be sellers.
Okay.
I don't want to be sellers.
Yeah.
Depending on who, of course.
Well, you could do it. You could do it in a nuanced way. You don't have to like give away like your top guys. But
what Hughes said is that we don't want to trade away for futures. So like we don't want draft picks. We want a player to make the team better. And what rumors say
so
is,
guys with term then.
Yeah.
Not a rental, obviously.
Not rental. Guys with term or we intend to sign.
Yeah.
What they've been saying is, I mean, he's already talking like this when the media asks him, but Jake Evans is like basically the prime target for our
He's a
sell-off.
center, right? Third line center?
Center. Although in our games this week, I think the last 2 against the Devils and Tampa, he was on the first line. He was definitely on the first line for Tampa. Liner was moved to the last line.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're
Not
showcasing him.
Not good.
They're showcasing Evans. That's why.
Yeah, and they're thinking even package deal, Yoel Armia with Jake Evans. Like some teams have asked for that supposedly.
For what? What would you want in return?
I don't know. But they're the penalty kill specialists. Like I'm a little like broken between the trading away Evans because having him on the PK and also in just like a veteran. He's basically a veteran on our team at this point.
He's still like 24 though,
Still
right?
28. He's 27, 28.
Oh, okay. All right.
To sign him for maybe 4 more years at $4 million.
But who else are you going to get rid of? Like, would you rather get rid of him or Slafkovsky?
I guess, like...
Or Caulfield? Or, I mean, you could get rid of Doc, I guess.
Thing is, our first line hasn't been clicking lately. Not like last year, at the end of the season last year. They were just going crazy. I mean, they're putting up points. But Slafkovsky hasn't been himself. He needs to really ramp it up. Yeah. He's having the contract year blues because he's nowhere near playing his contract.
Same with Lafreniere. Lafreniere's been
he's cooled down a bit?
Big. He just looks lazy a lot of the time, which is not good because he did just get paid. But it's just like,
he's like
it's in there. And I feel like that comes back to like, the culture, the coach, everything.
It's not good. Yeah. Easily off the puck. He does play physically, but his stick handling, and he just doesn't shoot as much.
He's like a big, strong kid. You think he'd just like motor his way to the net, like how he scored against the Rangers. Remember, he just like outworked Trocheck. Yeah.
And I think it's his skating with the puck is definitely the thing he needs to work on the most. Because if he gets that down and gets better puck possession, then he'll be unstoppable.
Yeah.
But then he'll be able to do those types of plays more. But I don't know. What's our first line? I guess what the question they've been thinking the office is, what's our first line going to look like 3-5 years from now? And they're basing the Evans and maybe the current trades off that because you don't want to give Evans $4 or $5 million for 4 or 5 years. And then you got Demidov coming in. You got to sign Lane Hudson. Maybe he's that, like, my brother was saying, $10 million player. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, is that for real? Like, you think...
Well, all right. So think about, like, if Hudson continues on this trajectory and he's, like, a young, point-producing, great skating defenseman, like... in the contract years that Werenski and Fox and McAvoy and Hughes got, they all got like 9, just about, right?
Right.
And so, like, you're looking at the cap going up by $10 million. 10 would not be out of the question, and it might even turn into be like a deal.
Right. So, let's say.
But that's in 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
2 years
he's
after
on his,
this year.
He's
yeah.
on his first.
Yeah. So, it could be. I mean, if he has 3 unreal
But, like,
years,
let's say- okay,
that could
so
be the bag.
Demidov's. I think Demidov's going to come in next year. I believe he is.
I'm excited for that. You've been hyping this kid up for so long.
He's crazy. And I didn't mention it last time, but he beat Kirill Kaprizov's under 20, rookie KHL record with less ice time.
Yeah.
Less ice time. And some people say, oh, no, like the KHL is easier to play in than it was like when Kucherov or Kaprizov was playing. But it's like, I mean, what makes you say that?
Yeah.
Like,
Who says that?
yeah, who says that? So he's a 19-year-old. He's going to come in. If he starts lighting it up, we're going to have to pay him like crazy. And it's not out of the ballpark for me and also other fans to say that, yeah, he could be our next superstar.
Yeah. That could be the one. So you're kind of just hoping everything lines up with him being the superstar that he can grow into in the NHL with all the moves you're making like right now. Because he could come in and then in like 2 years be a Kaprizov level, right? 2 or 3 once he gets signed. And so like you're just hoping the moves you make can get you there.
And I don't want Evans Lee, but I unfortunately could see that because of, playing the chess in the future, he might have to go along with Armia because we'll offload Dvorak and Brendan Gallagher and Savard with.
You really think you're gonna get rid of Gallagher? Like buy him out?
So I think,
or just like retire him.
There's a reason why he's up there because in the last game he was pretty much the only one to score against Tampa. He scored 2. He is the heart and soul of our team right now. He has been. He always like does his best, although his best sometimes looks really crap.
Well, he's old.
He's old, and he's been loyal to us. He loves Montreal. If he isn't skilled enough to keep up with like the current new folk coming in, I mean, I wouldn't mind him seeing on another team if they have an available spot because I want him to have a long NHL career. He deserves it. I think he does. Would I love to see him have for life, of course, but I know how most things in the past, like Thomas Buchanan going to another team, I don't know, players leaving, going to another team. It's happened. Subban goes, so like it happens.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the business. But there might not be room for him. I think though. That's
fair. Any final thoughts on just like the games that you had? I know we didn't really go through
we
it,
didn't
but
really talk about the game.
It's fine. I don't think we need to. We're a week out at this point, and you said that
we won against the Sharks.
Which is good.
Which is good. But they kept it close. It was back and forth. Yeah. Celebrini scored. He's good. He's gonna. I don't know. Hudson's been slowing down lately. He might just take over for the Calder.
Still that's not a. It's still a successful season for Hudson.
Yeah, I think so too.
100%.
Even if he doesn't win the Calder, I think super successful. I was expecting. I think I mentioned this before. Him to get like it would be an amazing season if he got 40 points, and he's gonna smash that out of the wall.
He's already above it, right?
Yeah, he's above it. So
if he gets 60, I'd be like.
If he gets 60, I'd be like, okay. When
was the last time a rookie defenseman got 60 points? Like,
was it Hughes or Makar?
Maybe. Still though. What kind of company is that?
That's the company that we're dealing with. So I'm super hyped for him. I'm just hoping at this point people stay healthy. Oh yeah, Gooley. I think he was injured before last week. But
maybe.
He's basically out. We've been suffering ever since he's been gone. And that's tough because you don't want just one player to be out and then all of a sudden everything goes to crap.
Yeah.
But it has been. The Devils shut us out. Jake Allen literally played like the greatest hockey that I've ever seen.
Former team.
Everyone's saying, "Oh, why didn't he play like this for the Habs?"
Of course.
We shot over 30. It was not for a lack of effort. Nothing was just going in. No puck luck. And similar with Tampa, we were playing hard, playing really well. Had a lot of shots on net, outshot them, but they, on a turnover, Tampa just like scores, just right off the turnover, and teams have been taking advantage of that. It sucks, but I think again it's that skill gap we're seeing. We need to finish more. So and the LA game was just a wash. Like it was terrible. They had like basically 12 shots within the first minute of the first period. 12 shots on net. Just like they were in the zone for 1 minute and they shot 12.
That's impossible.
No, I literally.
you gotta find the clip because that's
like
insane.
10, it was 10. Maybe it was 10 shots, but
Still,
still 10
minute?
shots is crazy.
A shot every 6 seconds.
Basically,
That's insane.
I'm telling you, that's how it was with the first minute of the LA game.
That's horrible.
And we got rolled over 6-3.
So, yeah, it might be fun if neither of our teams like make the playoffs. It's sometimes fun because you just get to root for like chaos instead of just stressing out.
Well, you know one thing I'm rooting for: Toronto first round exit.
Dude,
that's
the
one
best
thing.
every
Everyone,
year.
It's the yearly tradition,
yeah.
right? So I can't wait for that to happen. Would love to see their matchup. What is the if the playoffs were to start today?
No,
what's
it
the
is
treat?
so. There's not even a. We shouldn't even talk about it because it's going to change a million times. Like the Rangers could be in, they're like 3 points out.
Ottawa
I think now,
could be in.
and then it's Ottawa. If it's Ottawa, it'd be awesome. I think any matchup would be really fun. I think.
Yeah,
them.
I think so.
Okay, my games for the last 3. It was Bruins, Pittsburgh, Columbus. Something I didn't mention on the last pod. The Adam Edstrom's out 2.5 to 3.5 months. I don't know why they did it with
lower,
halves.
upper.
I think lower, but like I've never heard them say 2.5 months out. But that's what all the reports were.
2 to 3
So yeah, it was weird. So something was like
So who slotted in?
So VC has been in, and then they have Kaliev in again, and it's like it's seemed to be working. Like I said, I think if they lost 2 of those games, especially playing a Pittsburgh team without Crosby and Malkin, and then playing the Blue Jackets, who have been getting more and more hurt, and playing the Bruins, who I think we could win.
So is it Marchenko?
Yeah, Marchenko's out.
He has a broken jaw.
Got you.
So that might be at least 2 months, right?
Yeah, I think he's out for most of the season.
Wow.
Yeah. But I said if they don't win 2 of those, like I think I'm at the point where they're too far gone. And of course they kind of toe the line. They win the first one against the Bruins in a pretty shut down fashion. I think it was 3-2, but it seemed like it was a very in our control type of game where everyone's like firing. So it was good, right? Good momentum, right? 2 games left, probably your easier of the 3. Go out and play Pittsburgh. Crosby and Malkin are not in the lineup, so you have like a team led by Brian Rust and like whoever their goalie is now, and they lose in like they looked like the Rangers of a couple months ago, just disinterested, weren't doing anything. The Penguins didn't have a shot in the 3rd period.
Wow.
And the Rangers lost 3-2, I think.
That's
also
insane.
And it's like the first time that a team
like literally 0.
0 shots.
Dude, that's insane.
And it's the first time a team has done that since like 2009 or something.
Jeez.
It's like horrible. What the hell? Rough. So that was just, I have a bunch of Penguins fans and people like that just like totally clowning on the Rangers for that one. Like you can't even beat the half of the like AHL team Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
It was like a disgrace. Peter Laviolette was pissed off giving like one-word answers, but it's kind of like a little too late, man. Like they've been playing like this for months. Like even though they got the bump from JT and like some things have been going our way a little bit more, he's just, I don't know. It might be his time. It sucks to change the coaches again, but
the worst defensive pairings, and keep in mind this was from Instagram, so I don't know how accurate it was, but like at the midway point or beyond the midway point we're at, I saw Hudson Savard, and then I saw Schneider and Jones. Is that the pairing? Or what's the pairing?
It switches. So Jones has been getting in the lineup a little bit more, and I thought he played well. Which like I've always been a fan of him. It's just like the Rangers might not have a full spot for him, but yeah, Schneider and Jones play together. Yeah, and I think he'll probably end up getting traded just because they haven't really been utilizing him. But March, like mid-March, I think.
11th or something. Yeah.
So yeah, they totally look horrible, and it's one of those that reminds you this is still the Rangers team of this year. They're not the Rangers team of the last 3 years where they can just pull out wins when maybe they don't deserve it. It's like if they don't have everything go their way, they're going to pretty much lose.
Yeah.
And against a team that has no right beating them. So that really just ruined my Friday night that night. And it kind of just tainted the next game because it was a back-to-back. They went to play Columbus, ended up winning it. It would have been a more exciting game if I had a better taste in my mouth from the last game. Like I think Cooley at first had 2 goals, and then one was switched to Vakanainen because he tipped it. But the last goal of the game with like a minute and 40 left, Cooley scores off of like a good play rush, just like giving all his effort, which is what he's been doing all year. It's what has made him stand out. And it like, that's a game where usually you'd be excited. You're like, oh, sweet, all right, we get off this awesome win going into the break. Like, we have momentum. We're only 2 or 3 points out of the playoffs or the wild card spot. But it really just, you're kind of just like, they're going to make the playoffs, and then they could play 3 games like they did the last game, and it's going to be horrible. Yeah. So do I even want them to make it? I don't know. With that, no, I don't.
The worst position to be in, though, is just barely making the playoffs, so you get, I don't know, the 18th pick or something.
Yeah.
That's a little tough. All
right, there's a couple things here. Like, I think, obviously, a team that, like us, that we're in this situation, the GM and the coach and everything, they have to be in the mindset of, are we going to be buyers or sellers? Like, if we're selling, we better start falling off quick. Like, we can't be coaching to realistically win games unless we're...
Is that against the rules to tank like that? Like, to tell the coach, tell Marty, hey,
it wouldn't be a blatant tanking, like, lose games, but it would be like, all right, we're getting rid of 4 of your core guys because, like, we need to get picks or younger guys or whatever it is, and that's going to inherently make them worse. And then it's just like, you still need to work on things and like have positives, but once you like commit to like, all right, we're selling, I don't think the results matter as much. If you end up winning a ton, maybe it's weird.
Do good for culture, I think. Like,
no, it'd be bad.
So I think I'm no GM, but if I were Hughes, I would be like, just let them play hockey. And if I were Marty, I would tell, like, okay, forget, like, still follow this whatever system they're going with, but just like let them try to have fun again.
Yeah.
And see where that goes, because
I think the Blackhawks need that.
We want
Bedard's getting.
Yeah, he's getting pissed, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that from anyone, even Line. Like, I just want them to, and this is why the break is good at this point, despite us being on the drop off, because we need time to reset. Yeah. Enjoy hockey again when they get back on the ice. I think there needs to be that mentality switch that to just enjoy hockey and have fun with each other. And that's how I want to end the season, despite not making the playoffs, potentially. So, or selling a couple of our, core group. So,
the other side of that, though, is like, if you make the playoffs, anything can happen. And if you're on a little bit of a run and you just make it in, even though you have a worse draft pick, like, you could, if maybe you put everything together and maybe...
The only difference is that, anything could happen, but the run where we did make something happen despite just barely making it, we had, a couple of key core guys that I don't think we have. Like a player like Toffoli, Price, of course, Weber still on the team. Like, we don't have that. We don't have those, like, veteran presence that, like, they could pop off in the playoffs because they know they need to bring it. We don't have that at all. That's why I argue keeping it for Evans, because we can't just have like a team of just teenagers.
I'll ask the same question again. Who do you get rid of then to like make you better? Like, Dvorak's not going to get you anything back.
But who would we get? I would be interested to see what teams are interested in Evans and Armia, or just Evans.
I think you got to prey
because
on...
what kind of return?
Yeah, but you got to prey on the teams that like it would probably be a more like 1-for-1 type of, you're getting rid of Evans, that this team really likes, but you're getting back a player that like maybe does a similar thing, but like needs a change of scenery, or like, it's probably still a center you're getting back, and maybe he's a little younger, but like hasn't figured it out quite yet in that system. Like, think about like.
But then I view that as like.
You got Carrier for who?
For Justin Barron.
And like Barron wasn't bad. But
No, he
Carrier-
was. I mean, but
Was he?
Carrier, like he was bad for us. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So maybe that something like that works out because I mean you're not.
But the
gonna
thing
get
is,
rid
Jake
of,
Evans is good for us, and we're
Yeah.
trading away that
That's true.
some degree of certainty of like, yeah, he's a good player. PK is like driven off him, like he's so good.
Yeah.
So it's a bit tougher, and I don't know what kind of return. Like who's being sold?
Third line centers at the deadline these days. I feel like for a contender, you get a lot because it makes you so much deeper.
Right.
Think about it.
I mean, if like say we were in Ottawa's position, which would be great, I'd be like, yeah, like. This is interesting. Like, let's see what we can get, and maybe we trade away prospects to get like.
I think if you're in
to get
Ottawa's
deeper.
position and you have Jake Evans, you probably keep him and
Yeah,
like,
keep him, yeah.
build around him. But
Yeah, you keep him, and then you trade away futures for
Yeah.
an immediate like help
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
team. But like,
So
I don't know.
for me, and this will be our last thought, I think.
Yeah.
For me, what the Rangers need is like to get rid of Lindgren at the deadline. I think, see if you can get anything back.
that
And
might be tough because he's
I know.
been
bring
terrible.
in a defenseman to play a top four. So you need a top four defenseman. Let's just say.
Yep.
Okay. And you need to build out your third line because now you don't have a third line center. And I don't think Mika is the one there. When they've had Mika up at the wing playing with Miller and Panarin, it actually was pretty good. And then the second line of some combination of Trocheck and Lafreniere and whoever else on the wing, like Cooley, or and then your third line's like Kreider, Smith, and insert guy, right? Like, and Kaliev's in there sometimes, right? Like, I think they need a couple depth pieces at the third line. Smith is probably going to be gone. I think Lindgren should be gone. They need that defenseman. So
Yeah.
if they're buyers, that's what they'll probably target. I think though, like the way this season has gone, they're probably going to be similar to the Habs. Like they're going to be looking for guys not as rentals.
Yeah.
Especially because they're on the outside looking in. And it's just like, who else do you want to get rid of? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what that answer is. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see something in the next couple of weeks and some moves. If Evans were to be traded,
Yeah.
probably to a contender.
yeah,
So.
and I hope to see you and your countrymen in the finals.
Yeah, let's see.
on,
That would
what,
be
Thursday, I
awesome.
think?
That'd be awesome.
Or Wednesday.
I mean, I'm not saying it's guaranteed they'd be in the finals, but
I'm rooting for it.
I think so.
I'm rooting
Yeah,
for it. That was
for
such an electric game. I'm rooting for it. Need it.
Yeah, I think it has to be. It has to be, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Great. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. We'll be back probably at a regularly scheduled time.
Yeah.
Once the
The
season
Four
starts
Nations,
up again. Yeah.
And so,
Great.
thanks for watching.
So,